All right, today's I can statement is I can solve multi-step equations and special cases. And yesterday we went through and we reviewed how to see if something is a solution. You could do that in the warm-up if you would like. But we saw some cases where we had equations that we thought had more than one solution, some that had just one solution, and some where it looked like they didn't have any solution at all. So we're going to see what that looks like as we're solving an equation today. And I'm going to go ahead and go through and do these A, B, C, D. What I'd recommend is that you try and solve yourself. I'm going to go through solving these really fast. So pause the video, try and solve them yourself. If you get stuck at some point, that's okay. Just move on to the next one. I'm going to go through and solve them and you can compare. All right, let's go ahead and do A, B, C, and D. I'm going to change my color to purple and do A. My first step is to always distribute first. Well, I draw my line and then I distribute. So I'm going to keep this 8n minus 3 because it doesn't change. And on the other side, I get 10n plus 5. Now I'm going to subtract 8n from both sides because I have two variable terms. And that one's lower and I don't want a negative. So on this side, I get negative 3. And on this side, I get 2n plus 5. Now this is just a normal two-step equation. So let's undo addition with subtraction. And I get 2n equals negative 8. This looks like it solves pretty easy. So I get n equals, wait, I need to see this. Okay, negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. This cancels and I get n. Okay, awesome. So this solved normal, great. If you got that same answer, good job. You're on the right track. You remember the stuff we learned from previous days pretty well. Let's go ahead and do B. I'm going to go ahead and change colors. And this is actually almost exactly the same process. Like it looks almost exactly the same. The only thing that changed is that this is a 5. So I'm going to go ahead and do all the exact same steps I did before because they're literally exactly the same. So I'm going to rewrite this and I distributed. Oh no, sorry about that. And then subtract. And then undo addition with subtraction. Now this is a part where a lot of my students get stuck because they're like, well, this cancels out. So I don't have anything, so there's no answer. But remember, you actually know what 5 minus 5 is. It equals 0. And we can still work with this. So let's do our next step, just like we did before. Let's divide by 2 on both sides. Now you can think of this in your head or you can plug it in your calculator. This is n, but 0 divided by 2, let's say you have 0 cookies and you have 2 friends. And you're dividing your 0 cookies among 2 friends. How many cookies does each friend get? They still get 0. If you have nothing and you share it, you still have nothing. So our answer is that n equals 0. So this problem does have an answer. You do know how to solve it. Just remember that when things cancel, if there's nothing left on that side to write 0. Let's go ahead and do C. This one's exactly the same process again, but now our number in front of the parentheses has changed. So I'm going to go ahead and do this quickly for you. Let's do pink just for kicks. Okay. Oh, that's bright. Okay, now I subtract an, and hey, guess what? Both sides are an, and they're gone. And now I have 5 on this side equals 4 on this side. Now this is a weird one, and I like to ask, when does 5 equal 4? Never. And because our n's canceled, there is no single number that you can plug into n that would make 5 equal 4. It doesn't work ever. So this one where you just look at it and you go, that's wrong, that is no solution. And this is one of our special cases we're talking about today, is that when you cancel everything out and you get a number equals some other number that it doesn't actually equal, it's no solution. Let's go see D. This is our other special case. I'll distribute, and then I get 8n plus 4 over here. equals 8n plus 4 over here. Now you might have a guess as to what this is going to do, but when I subtract 8n from both sides, it cancels again, and I get 4 equals 4. When does 4 equal 4? Always. And when we say this, we could plug in any number into n, and it would work. And the official mathematical term for this is infinitely many solutions. So this is our other special case. So basically, if you get kind of a duh statement, well, duh, 4 equals 4, then it's infinitely many solutions. Okay, let's summarize what we learned. If we go through the correct steps to solve an equation and we get a variable on one side and a number on one side, we have found the one solution to the equation. And we did that in A and B. If we go through the correct steps to solve an equation and the variable goes away, there are two possibilities. The first is infinitely many, and this is actually the second one that we did. And that's when you have two numbers that equal each other, like 4 equals 4. This statement is always true, so all numbers work. So the way that we say all numbers work is we say infinitely many solutions. I would recommend, if you have these notes, that you highlight what you write down and what the equation will look like at the end, just so you can refer to it for easy reference. The other option is no solution. And we have two numbers that do not equal each other. The statement is never true, so no real numbers work. And I'd recommend you highlight. I'd do a different color though. I'm going to do no solution in yellow. And it looks something like that, 5 equals negative 6. All right, quiz time. You've solved some equations and you get, for example 2, you get these things at the end. We're going to write one solution, no solution, or infinitely many solutions. Now, when you solve, you don't actually have to write one solution. You can just box your answer. But for here, we're going to review how many solutions it has. A, we got n equals negative 4. According to our notes, that is one solution. Now, if you want, you can pause the video here and test your knowledge. Write one, no, or infinitely many, and see if you get the same as me. All right, for B, I have two numbers that don't equal each other, so I get no solution. C is infinitely many solutions. I'm going to abbreviate this with inf many sol. Okay, D is 0 equals 0. Hey, what do you know? That's always true as well. So we're going to have that be infinitely many solutions. There's every value of x makes that work. For E, x has to be 0, so that's the only one solution that will work. And for D, you'll have 7 equals negative 7. Some people think this is infinitely many solutions, but a negative is very different from a positive, so this is actually no solution. Okay, that's what you're doing today. If you need more examples, be sure to check out the extra resources that I have available. And